Hello guys, this is Thomas again, and today we're going to cover the topic regarding the heat transfer, and I hope you will stay with me and you will enjoy the lesson, which is quite interesting lesson, heat transfer, and later we will see also by integrating with heat exchanger, which we covered previously. So I want you to stay with me and let's go into our lesson. So here, let's start from this definition, heat transfer. What does heat transfer mean? Heat transfer is the process of transfer of heat from high temperature system to a low temperature system. It's obvious, we all know that there's temperature goes from the high temperature to low temperature. So this we call heat transfer. In thermodynamic system, the heat transfer is the movement of heat across the boundary of the system due to temperature difference between the system and surrounding. Like when we cover thermodynamics, we will say about the system and surrounding, but we don't have the system and we don't have surrounding here. So there's a temperature difference between the system and the surrounding. So it's much like the heat moves from the higher temperature to a low temperature, either by conduction, convection, or radiation, which is like heat transfer. So we call this thing heat transfer. So there are three modes of heat transfer. The first one is conduction, convection, and radiation. So this process in which there is no, if there is no transfer of heat between the system and surrounding, this is called a adiabatic process. And we will talk about this different isobaric, adiabatic, isothermal processes. But for now, think of like we have like if there is no heat transfer between system and surrounding, we call this adiabatic process. So what is heat? Heat, this is the movement of thermal energy from a substance at higher temperature to another lower temperature. Let's say we have system A and we have system B, let's say. So if this one is at 20 degrees Celsius and if this one is at 10 degrees Celsius, if we try to close these things each other, the heat transfer is going to be from 20 up to 10 degrees Celsius until they become at equilibrium. Let's say until this one reaches 50 degrees Celsius, until this one reaches 50 degrees Celsius, which we call it, I think there are thermodynamics laws, we will see them, but this kind of, the flow is from high temperature to low temperature, and we call it heat transfer, heat. The other thing is heat versus temperature, okay? Heat is the actual energy, but temperature is the measure of average kinetic energy of particles in a substance, okay? I want you to bear in your mind this thing. They are totally different terms. Like I've seen my students using these things interchangeably, but totally different terms, okay? The actual energy and the measure of average kinetic energy, this heat and temperature. So heat is not a temperature. I always told this my students. Heat transfer. So heat always moves from a warmer place to a cooler place, as we were discussing before. And hot objects in a cooler room will cool to room temperature. That's obvious. And the last one is cold objects in a warmer room will heat up to room temperature. Okay, so the main thing that I want you to have in your mind is heat always moves from a warmer place to a cooler place. So let's talk about the mechanisms of heat transfer in detail. Heat flows from a region of high temperature to a region of low temperature. Heat may flow by one or more of the three basic mechanisms. The first one is conduction, then we have convection, then we have radiation. So conduction is a process in which heat flows in a body is achieved by transfer of the momentum of individual atoms or molecules without mixing. This is the point. There is no mixing regarding conduction. We call it conduction. Or transfer of heat from one atom to another within an object by indirect contact with each other. There is no contact. It's through conduction, without mixing, without being in direct contact. So we call this conduction mode of heat transfer. For example, flow of heat through a metal shell of a boiler takes place by conduction as far as a solid wall or shell is considered. So we can say the flow of heat depends on the transfer of the vibrational energy from one molecule to another. And also, in case of metals, it's movement of free electrons, so we call it conduction.